Well, this is a continuation of the description and explanation of my national service. Continuing, we had arrived at Wansai training ground, or military camp in Bloemfontein. It was on the edge of the town, between the edge of the town and the highway passing through from Johannesburg to Cape Town. So we offloaded those personal things we were allowed to keep, and then we got back onto the parade ground and we started following the process, just like, as I was saying, in Dachau they had a process to strip the people and so on. Obviously theirs was a far more cynical and vile and deadly experience. But I'll just say that because as a new recruit, it was a unpleasant experience. They didn't want you to enjoy your first experiences in the army. The first thing, of course, is the haircut. I've been a student, long bushy hair. That all went. And so the hair went. Then you started collecting your uniforms and all the different pieces of equipment that you had. So the one thing you had to get was a trommel, or a big case that you'd keep your things in at the kaserne, or the barracks. The other thing you'd get is what they called a balsak, in English would be a ball bag, but actually it was a huge duffel bag to keep all your things in. And so then you'd go through the various stores and you'd get your uniform, you'd get your step outs, for the more important functions or formal functions, of which there were very few, not more than 1 or 2 over the next 2 years. And then only if you eventually did officer's course or some kind of selection. And then you got a big metal tray on which you put your food. It's called the varkpan, which is the pig pan, for obvious reasons. You had a number of water bottles, the army water bottles, and they had little casings that the water bucket, the water bottle fitted in. It was like what you'd call, I suppose, a water bucket, so that you could pour water in and you could drink from it. That was called a fire bucket. And then you also got your rifle. At that stage, they were using the R4, which I came to learn was based on the Galil. We were told more directly that it was really based on the AK-47. Had the same 5 working parts, but didn't have the 7.62 round of the AK-47, but had the 5.56 round, which the famous NATO uses to do all their killing, unnecessary killing. So then we had to collect all that and go and clean out the bungalow and or the barracks. We had to pack all our things away. We had to learn about what it is to have an inspection, how you clean your rifle, how you strip it, how you put it together, what your timings are for your routine in the army, and so on. So one can go through all of that, but I was placed under in the platoon of it just so happened, an English-speaking lieutenant who was a Christian man from a charismatic background, and the corporal was Corporal Dick Muir, and the whole group that we were in came from this area that I'd traveled up from, the Eastern Cape. And so a lot of us had been in schools that were quite well known, and we gelled together even though we were in rival schools. Selborne College, Dale College, Queen's College, and then Allable North and other places. Huncliffe, Allable North had some good rugby players as well, and so on. So the platoon gelled quite well. And of course, our corporal was Dick Muir. Dick Muir eventually, he was, I think, captain of the Queen's College rugby team, or he played for them. And the year that I went up, we had the captain of the Queen's College rugby team and a number of the players of that team. So it was quite a kernel of people who knew each other, and they knew the corporal. It created a really interesting dynamic. Dick Muir, of course, eventually went on to play for the Springboks a couple of games. We performed relatively well despite his lack of pace in the inside centre position, and he was also quite a successful coach for the Sharks, and then supported the Springbok coach, one who was not particularly very good, but Dick Muir performed well in those roles as well. But also very much a civilian corporal, but knew how to really give you a hard time physically. Anyway, so we then started our basic training, which lasted 12 weeks. And we'll stop there and continue again in another video.